Now we are going to see question number 21 from Indian Catechism of Catholic Church. Question number 21 is, what curse befell the first parents and their descendants? The answer is, they became slaves to Satan and subject to the consequences of death and hell. The explanation to this answer is, to understand the answer to this question, it is necessary to properly grasp the meaning of terms like slavery to Satan, death and hell. First, slavery to Satan. If we ask what it means to be a slave to Satan, many might respond by saying, it means being a slave to sin. However, interpreting it in this way does not lead to a beneficial understanding. In fact, it brings about negative consequences. How? Those closest to God or those who are most dear to Him often face the most trials. As a result of these trials, these beloved ones may end up committing more sins. Meanwhile, people who aren't undergoing such trials may view themselves as holy and untouched by sin, and look upon the more tested individuals as grave sinners. This is the situation that Jesus illustrates in His parables, where He asks whether those who have been forgiven more debts love more, or whether those who have been forgiven less debts love more. The answer disciples gave to this question is that only sinners love more. This shows that there is no direct connection between being a slave to sin and being a slave to Satan. Moreover, this kind of understanding causes those who are tried the most and commit the most sins to judge themselves harshly, thinking, I am such a great sinner, so there is no way I can attain salvation. As a result, they distance themselves from God, thinking worship is futile. This mindset works in Satan's favor because when people distance themselves from God, even those close to Him fall into Satan's trap. But Jesus uses different terminology, stating that one cannot serve two masters, both God and wealth. Indirectly, He is indicating that Satan manifests in the form of material wealth. All humans sin, but there are two types of people. Some, because of intense trials, resort to sinful ways to cope with life. Others, who are not as tested, live in wealth and choose sinful paths to maintain and increase their wealth. Between these two is a third group who, when facing suffering, seek out materialistic beliefs like astrology, idol worship, witchcraft, etc., rather than turning to God. This group is the vast majority. Living enslaved to wealth, seeking comfort in material things, this is what is meant by slavery to Satan. Next terms to understand is death and hell. Adam and Eve ate the fruit that brought death, but they did not die immediately. In fact, they lived long enough to have many children. Yet, God had said, on the day you eat from it, you will surely die. Did God lie? No. What God meant was, on the day you eat from the tree, I will place you on the list of those who deserve to die. If Adam and Eve had not eaten the fruit, they would have continued to live in the Garden of Eden to this day. And we, as their descendants, would have been born in Eden and lived there until we too ate the fruit that brings death. In essence, a person could live forever in the Garden of Eden until they eventually succumbed to temptation and ate the fruit, thereby indicating that they no longer wanted to be part of God's family. In response, God would have to separate them from the others, as their action would have been an act of betrayal. Life is a precious gift, and for receiving such a gift, God expects the person to agree to become His child. Every human enjoys life and longs to live long. But if after experiencing life a person says they no longer wish to be part of God's family, this is a great betrayal. Imagine going to a theatre to enjoy a show, but when it's over, refusing to pay for the experience. This is betrayal. Similarly, experiencing life but failing to love God in return is a deep betrayal. Such traitors are punished, and that punishment, which is described as eternal suffering, is what we call hell. Because Adam and Eve committed such a grave betrayal, they, along with their descendants who do not strive to become God's children, are destined for death and hell. This condition is known as original sin. Those who recognize Adam and Eve's act as a grave betrayal and believe that they would have not done the same are eligible to be freed from original sin through baptism. Hence, the curse that befell Adam, Eve and their descendants is that they became slaves to Satan and subject to death and hell.